Buenos dias.
Good morning in Colombia.
Yeah.
We spent our first night in the beautiful hostel in Casa
Colabri.
and we are walking to get some breakfast.
Yes.
So hungry. I think we've been jet lagged. I woke up at 5.
We slept the whole night basically.
Yeah, we
So
went to bed like
tired.
early at 9.
Yeah, it's
Woke up
crazy.
at 5 a.m. and then went back to sleep. And now, looking for some good coffee.
And some adventures.
Breakfast time, and this morning we are trying local
Bakery,
pastries.
yeah.
Local bakery, and with some scrambled eggs.
Generally, we find that the food prices in Bogota it's very cheap. I would
It
say.
is.
Like, for example, like for what we're having, like eggs, bread, coffee, 4,000 Colombian pesos. That's roughly about a dollar, $1.50 or less. Yeah.
That's really cheap for breakfast.
Slightly more than a euro as well. Yeah.
Yeah, slightly more than you, which is super good.
Yes. If ever you want to go to a place for some adventures, you should definitely come to sometime.
Yeah, it's an awesome place. So far, we've only been here for 3 days,
Really
but
like
we
it.
love it.
Yeah.
It's really good. The food is amazing. The people are really nice. Everything is so good. The vibe is awesome. The music is everywhere.
And I'm mixing both passions, politics and graffiti, through this tour, which is awesome. I love it.
So now we are taking a walk with the graffiti tour, going to the first area. So apparently in Bogota, Colombia, graffiti is illegal, but it is decriminalized. So now we are going to see why it is decriminalized.
She's one of my favorite female street artists and street artists in general, because paint on the streets is being a woman is way different than being a man. It's not the same, and are not the same dangers that you face when you go out and paint being a man than being a woman. I have talked with several Europeans, North Americans, and Latin American female street artists, and we agree on something. That when we go out, our major fear is not be caught by the police, but be sexually or physically harassed by the owner of a house, a pedestrian, or even the police. So that might be why we are a way less number than men around the world. For example, here in Bogota, there is an estimation of 5,000 people painting in the city, and only 500 are women, close to the 10%, even when we are the 57% of the Colombian population.
So basically after the graffiti walk, we learned about the real truth why graffiti is decriminalized in Bogota. 2011, 19th of August, there's this guy called Diego Felipe Becerra. He wanted to be a musician and a graffiti artist. So one fine night, he and his friend went out to do graffiti writing. So they found a perfect spot to do a stencil, and about half hour into their drawing, they were caught by the police. A few of his friends escaped, but Diego and one of his mates decided to stay on. So when the police saw them, they were pretty aggressive and made a complete check of them and started to threaten them with a long jail term, and also threaten the well-being of their parents. You know, obviously as kids, both of them were scared and tried to escape. So while running, Diego's mates managed to escape into the corner of the street, and that's where the story came about. Unfortunately for Diego, he was gunned down, and all of this over graffiti. He started to lose lots of blood, and the officers saw him on the ground and decided to let him bleed to death. So the officers did not do anything, and once Diego wasn't moving, the officers framed him for his own death, put a gun and put some drugs into his hand, and took photos and accused him of trying to rob a bus. And because of this fact, the officer shot Diego. So, just like many other stories, he thought he'd be able to cover it all up. But unfortunately, it didn't go his way. So when Diego's parents got to the hospital and got to know the real story from Diego's friend. He went high and low to prove his innocence. With the help of the UN National Human Rights Support and a kick-ass lawyer, they managed to prove that Diego has never handled any weapon in his life ever. And there was not even any trace of drugs in his blood. So with all the evidences in 2016, the officer was incarcerated to 37 years in prison. Unfortunately, just like many other stories, this is not a fairy tale. The sentence was overturned in a matter of hours, and this guy is free on the streets. So in 2011, the same year, Diego died, and due to his parents' braveness and spirit of activism, they were called into the mayor's office with the rest of the graffiti community in Bogota to tell a version of the story. Personally, I think graffiti artists are not robbers, not killers. I think they just want to express themselves. I mean, sure, they are trespassing private property. However, I think there's better measures that can be taken into solving this problem. So for the next few years, the community were working on the safe practice of graffiti regulation, and that changed how people see graffiti art in Bogota forever. And since 2013, if you're ever caught doing graffiti illegally, the only thing that the authority can do is to prevent you from continuing and make you pay over your vandalism.
Alright, so that's the end of our graffiti
tour
today. A lot of information, a lot of
Pretty much.
beautiful
Very enriching as well, not just basically about graffiti, about the
History
issues, the
and
history, the
everything.
political system as well, which is very, very interesting.
Yeah, it was really good tour, and definitely recommend you guys as well.
Alright, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Soundtat Travels, and our Instagram as well, Soundtat Travels.
And we'll see you guys later. Ciao.
Peace out.